Today, Boss posted an official announcement for the release of the new and improved Boss RC-505 Mark II, launching later this year. The Boss RC-505 has been one of my all-time favorite loop stations, and to see it have a major update is very exciting. At first glance, the design of the Mark II is very similar to the original RC-505, but upon further inspection, a lot has changed. Currently, not too much has been showcased with the Boss RC-505 Mark II. We have a few screenshots and specifications listed on the official website, along with a teaser trailer. I do think the improvements to the Mark II does show that Boss has listened to the feedback of the users, because a lot of these new features that are implemented are going to make this new loop station a lot easier to use. Now, currently I don't have my hands on a Mark II loop pedal. I'm hopefully going to be getting one very soon to do some upcoming videos on that. So stay tuned and make sure you subscribe to catch those videos when I upload them. So what's new with the Boss RC-505 Mark II? There is now a larger LCD display, which is going to make it a lot easier when working within the menus. Because the Boss RC-505 is targeted to advanced users, you spend a lot of time using the advanced settings and creating advanced patches on the RC-505. And having a larger LCD display to go about navigating the menu system and setting these patches up is very much welcomed. I do hope that the RC-505 takes a lot of inspiration from the Boss RC-500's menu system and categorizes things a lot easier as well. Because with the Boss RC-505, one of the things I used to hate doing was having to scroll through all of the categories like this, and stuff took ages to set up. But it does appear by the photographs that have been shown that the menu system has definitely been expanded upon. There are now 4 assignable input and track effects. Previously on the RC-505, we could only use 3 effects simultaneously, but we now have an extra one, which is effect D for both the input and effect D for also the tracks. Combined with this, there are now effects buttons for each track individually. Previously, if you wanted to turn an effect on and off on a particular track, you would turn the effect on, and then you would use the target feature to turn it on and off with these edit buttons. Pretty slow and also quite unclear whether you've turned something on or off, because this is just blinking whenever. Now you can just simply turn them on and off directly on the pedal, as the screenshots seem to show. A huge feature for me personally is the increase to 32-bit processing. On the Boss RC-505, it was 16-bit WAV. We've now got 32-bit WAV on the Mark II, which is a huge improvement. Just like with the Boss RC-500 has 32-bit, you can definitely hear the difference, and you also get unlimited uncompressed overdubs. Now, back in 2016, the Boss RC-505 Mark I actually got a huge firmware update, which implemented new effects, new features, MIDI assign, a variety of different things that took this loop station to a whole nother level. Now, the effects have been expanded upon even further. We have now got 49 input effects and 53 track effects, including the brand new harmony effect. I do hope that this is the same or a similar vocal harmonizer effect that's found inside of the new Boss Cube Street 2. The vocal harmony effect on that Boss amplifier sounds fantastic, and I normally avoid effects like this because they can sound a little bit contrived and cringy, but it sounds very natural the way that Boss has manufactured that effect. And if this is similar with the Boss RC-505 Mark II, it's going to be a very usable effect. Now, something that seems to be very interesting about the Mark II is the approach to the undo/redo feature. Now, there's not too much information that expands upon this other than a simple sentence on the website, but there's something called the mark back function. Now, currently on the RC-505, if you need to undo a loop, you record your bass loop, record a load of overdubs or whatever, and then you can just basically remove the most recent layer and reintroduce it just by clicking that undo/redo button. I've always found this a little bit cumbersome, especially compared to the RC-300 where you had like click and hold style commands, but it works. Now, on the website, this new mark back function apparently gives you a bit more control over the undo/redo. Now, what I'm assuming this mark back feature does, and I have not tried this out, I've not seen anybody use it, but what I'm guessing this could do is you go ahead and record your bass loop, and you just, you record your first layer, and I feel like there must be some way that you almost set a marker within the loop saying, right, this is layer 2, and now from layer 2, I'm going to record a 3rd layer, a 4th layer, a 5th layer, and then you can click the mark back undo, and it will take you back to the marked layers. So whether you mark that to be layer 2, or whether you mark that to be layer 4, and then you did like 10 other layers beyond that point, that's all I'm assuming it could be. Basically just allowing you to undo a chunk of overdubs rather than just the most recent one. The next new features are for the rhythm section. Now, the Boss RC-505 already had a pretty decent rhythm section. In my opinion, it was better than the RC-300. It had a lot of settings in how you could route this into headphones, and there was also a lot of different sounds that you could also choose from, and I specifically like the fact you could loop with a metronome. But with the Mark II, there are now over 200 grooves built into the rhythm section with 16 different kits to allow you to tweak the actual sound, which is a huge feature found on the Boss RC-500. Not only can you choose the groove, but you can also choose the kit that is playing that groove to more suit the style that you're actually performing in. Now, although there's been this increase in the flexibility with the rhythm patterns and also sounds, just like with the Boss RC-10R, via the USB on the Mark II, you can import your own grooves. So you can create your own sort of groove files, import them via USB onto the Mark II to once again allow you to create the perfect song structure on your loop station. Now let's move on to the back of this loop station. This is where it gets really interesting and some of the huge changes have happened. We now have two XLR inputs, which are both phantom powered. So you can connect two microphones, maybe two beatboxers, two vocalists, and loop them both simultaneously via that input source. Or I'm hoping there might be a way to route the destinations of these inputs. So you could have one microphone connected to the RC-505, which is used for looping with, like your vocal looping mic. And then you have a second one, which is just connected as a bypass. And it's not actually being used to loop. It's just basically going through the loop pedal and its effects and then out. That would be something really cool that I hope we can see. And I'm assuming that's probably what's going to be happening. Next up, we've got two pairs of left and right input jacks. So you can now connect up to 4 mono instruments or 2 stereo instruments, depending on how you want to do that. Now, this is a huge feature because currently at the moment, if you want to connect multiple instruments to a Boss RC-505, you have to use a mixer, route all of your instruments into that mixer, and then route the left and right out of that mixer into your loop station and the loop station into another mixing console that then goes to the speakers. It's a very, very tedious process. However, this will allow you to connect your instruments direct or connect multiple different mixes of instruments. The flexibility here is going to be crazy. And just like with the Boss RC-500, I'm assuming we can determine the destination of each of the inputs. So input 1 could go to track 1 and track 2, and then input 3 could go to all of the tracks. I'm assuming that feature is going to be there like it is on the RC-500. Next up are the output connections. We've got a stereo left and right out, just like with the Boss RC-505, but we now have 2 stereo sub-outs. So once again, this is going to let you route your audio in a whole new dimension that was previously not possible with the RC-505. Now on the Boss RC-300, that loop station did have sub-outs, which made it very flexible for people performing live because you could separate the output of your loops from the input audio going into your loop, giving your mix engineer way more control over the sound that the audience was hearing. Well, now we've got 2 stereo sub-outs, so this is a whole nother level. And hopefully, just like with the Boss RC-500, we could set these sub-outs to be mono and basically set each loop track individually to have its own output. So track 1 could be outputted from sub-out 1, track 2 from sub-out 2, 3, 4, and then maybe put loop track 4 and 5 on sub-out 4. However you would route it, that's going to be huge. We still have a headphone output, just like with the Boss RC-505, which is very important for separating metronomes and onboard rhythm sections to keep you in time from the audience if you don't want them to hear those. And there's now 2 external control jacks, which supports either 2 external foot switches or an expression pedal. This is another area that's very important for people that are using instruments. Obviously, these tabletop loop pedals are primarily designed for beatboxers who are using their hands, but guitarists like myself use the 5 tracks to create quite elaborate performances, and having the extra foot switch connection is going to be very, very useful. These foot switch connections combined with the MIDI in and MIDI out and connecting external foot controllers like the Nectar Pacer, which you've seen me use extensively here on the channel, is just going to allow you to map pretty much everything you need to your loop pedal and your foot switches. Now, regarding the MIDI, something huge that I hope for is more assign control parameters. On the Boss RC-505, you could only assign up to 16 controller assigns to your MIDI devices, which, believe it or not, you would use up pretty quickly if you wanted to basically have independent control of each of your loop tracks, both including record, start, stop, all start, all stop, different things like that. Additionally, I hope that the MIDI clock has been improved on the Mark II. The track faders on the RC-505 Mark II have been improved as well. Now on the Boss RC-505, they had a pretty short throw on them, which didn't give you much precision over, fading loops in. It was pretty restrictive. Additionally, as well, the build quality wasn't mind-blowing. There's a lot of wobble with these switches, so if you were using this extensively on stage, got a bit heavy-handed with it, it wasn't that great. But with the RC-505 Mark II, we've got a longer fader, which is going to give you a lot more detail going from 0 all the way through to 100. And the build quality of these has been improved according to the post online. So those are my first impressions of the brand new Boss RC-505 Mark II. I have yet to test an RC-505 Mark II and I haven't seen one, so everything today has just been based off assumptions and from what I've read online of how things are going to work, and from my experience of using Boss loop pedals, how the new features may be implemented on this new pedal. For me, I think this will be the best Boss loop station I've ever used. I'm very excited about some of the new features and also the improvements over a loop pedal I'm already very familiar with. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel because I will be getting one of these very, very soon, and we'll be checking out all of the brand new features and seeing what it can do. But as always, thank you so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will see you in the next one.